Right, we have a tyre pressure warning on this Jeep Renegade. So let's work through this one and see what we've got going on. So first things first, let's have a look to see what it's telling us. So put the ignition on. So it is saying low pressure on the rear right. So what we'll do, we'll check the tyre pressures first, and then what we can do is have a look to see if we've got a working. Well, actually, it's now the system has gone off completely. So first things first, let's have a quick look to see what the tyre pressure sensors are telling us. And what we're going to be using today to do this is the Autel. So let me show you. As you can see on here, most of my stuff is Autel. Just a little set here. When you buy this kit, I think it comes with the 315 and 433 sensors as individuals. As this kit has progressed, they now do a dual sensor that will do both signals. So it'll do a 415 and it will a 433 and it will do a 315. Look at that, from memory as well. So now we've got dual sensor. So let's have a quick look by running around and seeing what this has got. So if we turn this on, this is obviously the Autel. And then what we're going to do, we are going to quickly just go to the advanced mode. Yes. The device has not been updated for a long time. We recommend it. Yes, we know that. So we're going to go down to Jeep on here. Renegade. And it gives you the options there. So this one we know by what it tells us here. It runs a 433 hertz or megahertz, whatever you want to do. So we're going to go and we're going to go diagnostics to start with. So it's telling you where it wants you to start. So we'll go around to the first wheel. And all we need to do is just put it where the valve is and then just push the trigger. There we go. So it's telling us that that sensor is working and it is at 36.5 psi. So then we'll move around to the next side. Same again, guys, on the valve, push the trigger function and then there we go, 37.7. And we'll move around again. We find the valve. You know the drill by now. Push the button. 27 on this side. And then we'll do this one. If you can actually see it. Aha! There we go, guys. So we have got no reading at all from this side. So whilst we have got a low pressure on the right hand side rear, we have got no signal from this tyre pressure sensor. So we'll have this wheel off and we'll get a sensor put in it. Right, we've moved the vehicle, moved the tyre into the tyre machine. Can't hear anything rolling around inside here. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the air out, we're going to break the bead, use the lever arm on the machine to pull this down to see if in fact we have got a tyre pressure sensor in here. My feeling is this doesn't look like a tyre pressure sensor valve that's been put in here. So what we'll do, we'll get the air out, we'll break the bead, and then we'll see. We will see what we got. Yep. Let's have a look. We've either got a snapped. Well, that looks like a snapped tyre pressure sensor to me, because you can see the flatness on the end of there. When you've normally got a valve, you would have a dome that would sit like that on a normal valve. That says to me that's snapped off. So it's not in the wheel. So they've either, it's been snapped off, they've removed the tyre pressure sensor and just left it as it is. But I'll break this tyre off, we'll get it off, and then we'll see if it's rattling around in there. But I can't hear nothing rattling around in there, so I think they've taken it. Right, as we thought, absolutely nothing inside this new tyre. And then if you come down and have a look at this, you can clearly see this was a tyre pressure sensor valve that's been snapped off. Probably been snapped off when they fitted the tyre, and they've just thrown it and then just put the valve back in. So what we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to pull the data from the tyre pressure sensor from the ECU using the Autel. Then we'll code that data into the new sensor, put it back in here, and then the car will think that it's the genuine sensor from the wheel sensor, and then it should sort the tyre pressure light and obviously turn the light off. So yeah, we'll get that done. We'll get this cut out of the wheel. We'll get the new sensor coded, which we'll go through, and I'll take you through how to do that with the Autel, and then another job done. Right people, let's get this sensor coded. The first thing we're going to do is put the ignition on, have the sensor ready. So basically what we're going to do, we are going to program it. I'll try and get it so you can see it. So we're going to go back into the vehicle, Jeep Renegade. We know it's a 433 Hertz, which is what we've got here. Let me turn that stereo off before we get copyrighted. And then all we're going to do, we're actually going to go to the program sensor, because what we want to try and do is pull the data from the vehicle using the OBD. As you can see, we've got it plugged into the OBD port. So we're going to pull the data. So yes, use previously stored data, yes. So we know that that wheel is the left rear, so we will come down to the left rear. Hasn't got a spare wheel, so then we will go copy, and then it will say to put the sensor in here. Keep sensor to be programmed within 1 centimeter. There we go. So we're now programming this sensor. I don't think I'll have to speed this one up. It should actually be quite good. But it does have to be within a set distance, which is why we use the end of that programmer. There we go. Programming successful. As you can see, it's saying it's 26 degrees at the moment, which is pretty hot, and 0.4 psi because it's not been blown up. So let's get this sensor in and see what we got. Right, so this is the programmed sensor. We've cut the old one off and pulled it out, and then all we've done is just put a bit of slime around it, because it literally does look like slime. And then all we're going to do is we're going to pull the valve through the alloy using this tool here. It's looking a little bit bent actually. I've wrestled a few valves lately. And then all we do is just pop it up here when it wants to go. So that is the sensor fitted. But what we're going to do now is get it back on the tyre. We're going to have to balance it now because we've taken the tyre off to see if we could find the pressure sensor, which we can't. And then we'll get it on the vehicle and see what we got. And obviously we're going to have to make sure when we put this on, unlike what they've done, we don't break the sensor when this goes round, which is very easy to do if you don't get it in the right position. Right, so that is the new sensor fitted. Let's have a look to see if it reads it, and then we know. We want to go this one here. Look at that. Right, so now we know that that is programmed. Let's have a look to see if this Jeep Renegade is now done. So I can start that. Let's have a look to see. Here we go, look at that. So, that's another how-to video on how to do the tyre pressure sensors. These vehicles on here, once you program these, you do have to drive these above 30 mile an hour for 10 to 15 minutes, just in case you end up doing a Jeep, do the sensor and you think, oh no, it's not working. It does work, it just needs to be driven. So, another one done, guys. Let's move on to the next one.